Hello and welcome in. This is episode 4 of Dogs on Skates. I am J Dog. That, my friend, is Andy, and we got an exciting show ahead for you guys. And we are going to be kicking it off by looking at the week that was with the Vancouver Canucks. How are we feeling, Andy?
Oh boy, that was technically a week of hockey. I I don't know that it's possible to feel very good about what we've witnessed lately from the Canucks.
Yeah, that was a tough week. I was probably at the lowest that I've been all season on this team. At certain points throughout the week, so it was a tough one. But let's kick it off. Look at kind of each game a little bit. Starting with the Vegas Golden Knights. That was a game that the Canucks, I felt like, and that's the first game coming right out of the Four Nations, where the Canucks came out, I thought, pretty okay, but Vegas came out flying, and that was a very fast game. And to be honest, I thought their effort looked good, but it looked like there was a deficit at skill for the team, which I wouldn't say has been an issue in the past. It's been more of an effort issue. In this case, I'm like, okay, we're going to the right spots and we're playing okay. We're just not as skilled as our opponent. Um,
Did feel like they got a little exposed there.
yeah, and I thought it was Lankinen in net. I thought he played a really good game. Just that was a very good team, and we you notice the difference without JT Miller and a very absent Elias Pettersson. It's a big gap at center. So yeah, what did you think?
I think you nailed it. I don't even know how much I'm gonna have to comment about a lot of those games. They were just forgettable games. With the exception of LA, I thought they had some okay moments. Um, but yeah, it was a forgettable stretch of games. Um, J Dog's always the optimist, um, but it was it was Thursday after the game, just as it was winding down. I got a couple of messages from him, and if anything, I'm more the pessimist of the two of us. But he was ready to. I'm gonna spare some of the words he used, but he was ready to tear it down, found it disgraceful, and was ready to just have an absolute fire sale on Friday and start over.
I was not doing well.
J Dog was in a rough place, but it was very, I feel, appropriate. That was after the Ducks game. Um, I tried to make him feel a little bit better, reminding him that the Ducks have actually been playing okay hockey. They're actually one of the hotter teams in the league, so it's not that embarrassing on its own that they lost to the
So
Ducks.
you reminded me that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna prove him wrong. I'm gonna go look at the schedule, and I looked back, and it wasn't strong enough of an argument to really rebuttal, but they had lost like 5 of their 6 before going on this streak where they've had some wins, and the thing I was going to look at was strength of schedule. Like, did they just beat up on Buffalo and a whole bunch of bad teams? No, they actually beat some good teams. So I didn't
Yeah.
have as strong of an argument there, but I was ready to ready to fight back.
Well, coming off the Kings game, where I think they did a lot of things okay, and at least ground out a bit of a an outcome there. The early going in the Ducks game, I thought had a lot of potential. I thought it could be a bit of a laugher that maybe the Canucks were gonna, get a bit of a cathartic release and score a bunch of goals. In the early going, it kind of looked that way, and I found myself thinking, man, how sad for the Ducks that they've got Radko Gudas as their captain, and then you think about what we have in Quinn Hughes, and then it was just I felt so sorry for them, and then they go and just just
they
embarrass the
they didn't
Canucks,
feel
and I'm
very
like,
sorry for us, I don't think.
no, no, they sure didn't, and fair enough, good on them for sensing a weakness in the Canucks and taking advantage, but.
So
Correct.
I felt pretty disappointed after the Utah loss. That was pretty tough. Back to back regulation losses. Both games that you were in, you were 1-1 going into the third. You have great goaltending performances, and you just can't score. Um, then we go to LA. We play a very solid 60-minute game. It goes to overtime, and like the Kings won that on a second goal that was outrageous. Like I can't remember who it was, but they reached way out and like tipped the puck just under the bar and like in towards the goaltender to score that second goal. It was quite impressive. A little bit lucky, I think, but they dug in and made sure to get the win. And then we're up against the Ducks and then just completely stopped playing in the second and third period. And that drove me crazy.
And
I
we've seen it
was,
far too many times is the problem,
yeah,
right? So many
exactly.
blown leads, or just getting a lead, a couple of goals, and then just putting it into coast mode and thinking that because you've got a lead, it is just going to turn itself into a win.
I remember thinking in the first intermission, being like, okay. We lost the back to back. Things were looking real bad in Vancouver, but now we're about to win a back to back LA and Anaheim. And okay, like this is okay. The Oilers have been terrible. The Kings haven't been great. Okay, maybe this will smooth it out. It's fine.
Build some
We'll get
momentum.
back on track. We stumbled coming out of Four Nations, but that's okay. And then just completely pooped the bed. And I was so disappointed. That was the most in despair that I have felt with this team all season. That was bad.
We had some positive vibes going into Four Nations, which is, I think, part of what makes it so difficult having the week that we just did. You look at that schedule: Vegas, Utah, LA, the Ducks. You go, Vancouver's got to come out of that at least 2-2 at a minimum, right? So you go into it with some positive vibes. The Four Nations didn't go as great as it could have for the Canucks, um, but I mean, we had some positive vibes as Canadians coming out of that. And then, yeah, as J Dog said, to have the team just poop the bed in four consecutive games, basically, it kind of erases all of that goodwill that we had going into the Four Nations break. And now it feels like this trade deadline is such a huge pivotal moment for this franchise, not just this year, but for all the years to come, effectively. So we won't get into trade deadline stuff on the weekly show here. We do have a whole separate trade deadline primer that we actually just recorded, so that'll be available probably by the time you're seeing this. So we do get into some potential, what we view as fixes for the Canucks, J Dog especially, who's got some answers for the team. But yeah, a week like that, it really kind of sets the stage for, I think, the fans being ready for a shakeup. Right, this team is clearly not getting it done.
Completely
Um,
agree. Yeah.
I think to that end, you had a tweet, I guess, about some of the Canucks scoring difficulties of late.
Yeah. By Jeff Patterson. um, just pulling up here. He said, "This is what the scoring looks like for a team that has crested 3 goals only once in the last 20 games."
I
And
imagine
it
that was supposed to be
shows
created, or no, I guess crested,
crested.
as in
Yeah.
scored more than three
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
once in its last 20.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that shows Quinn Hughes leading with 16 points, 6 goals. Brock Besser, Tyler Myers, 10 points each. 4 goals for Brock, 2 for Myers.
but
Myers has
Myers in
played
three
three
less
less
games.
games. Exactly. And Quinn Hughes has played in 3 games less than Myers, only 14 for Quinn Hughes. Um, and then you get down. It's terrible. Like Quinn Hughes, Tyler Myers, and Philip Hronik are your 3 of your 4 top
Oh,
point getters. Like that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like I understand Quinn Hughes, and maybe Hronik is a top 8, but the fact that those 3 guys are in the top 4, that's ridiculous. Then we've got Connor Garland with 8 and 6 goals, Pia Suter with 8 points and 4 goals, Elias Pettersson 7 points, one goal in his last 19 games. That is atrocious. His shots are at an all-time low. I think I saw like I don't know if he has more than one shot in a game this like in February. Just a disaster. And then Jake DeBrusk, 6 points, 4 goals in 20 games. And that was 2 goals that just happened. So he was at 2 goals and 2 assists in 18 games or 17 games prior to that. So
Pettersson
real
played,
bad. Real
Pettersson
bad.
played, probably 14 games with Quinn Hughes. There is a significant part of me that truly believes that if I strapped on skates, and I can barely skate, like it's ugly, that if I strapped on skates and skated towards the net, that in the course of 19 games, someone would bank a puck in off my ass for a goal. I'm pretty convinced that it could happen. Just stand at the side of the net and let guys shoot it at me, and one of them would eventually go in. What are we doing here? 1 goal in 19 games?
And they're doing like they actually have an okay record prior to the stretch. Like they had won 3 games and 1 overtime loss in their 4 games leading into Four Nations. Like they were actually doing okay record wise, which shows how good their defense and their goaltending is. It's just there's no offense, like no offense. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Quinn Hughes, you almost expect to be at or near the top of your team scoring. That's fine.
Yep.
It's good that he's there. Brock Besser, kind of the same thing. I mean, you'd like to see him have more than 10 points in 20 games, but
Like that's half a point. That's
having
only
Brock
40
Besser,
points in a season.
but
Ugh.
Besser as your second leading scorer, okay, that on the face of it, you
Yeah.
can live with that as well. But then Tyler Myers and Philip Hronik, if those are your third and fourth highest scoring players,
And Myers is ahead of him.
and they've both done that in less games than the 4 forwards that come after them. So when that's the case, when you have Tyler Myers and Philip Hronik being third and fourth, you can survive that for a couple of games.
Yeah.
If they get hot and they score a couple of points for, a couple game stretch, okay. But this is 20 games. That's almost
Yeah.
2 months of hockey. Canucks had 8 games in February. This is almost 2 full months of hockey.
That's
It's mind-blowing.
It is mind blowing. Now, we're not going to stay in the dumps completely because this morning I woke up and I had a little bit more hope and life for this team. I thought, okay, this really sucks. We're in a bad spot. But let's look around. Let's look at our peers. How are they doing? So I look over at the Edmonton Oilers. Leading in to, well, actually, I'll just look at all of February. They opened February with a 4-3 loss to the Leafs in regulation. Then they beat the Blues 3-2 in overtime, followed by beating the Blackhawks 4-3 in overtime. So you're just getting the 2 overtime wins there. Then you play Colorado, your last game before Four Nations, you lose 5-4 in regulation. Then you come back from Four Nations. You lose 6-3 to the Flyers, 7-3 to the Capitals, 4-1 to the Lightning, and 4-3 to the Panthers. They have lost 5 games in a row in regulation. That's allowing 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals, 4 goals, and 4 goals. So I don't think things are fantastic in Edmonton either.
No.
So that I'm like, okay. This is we're gonna be okay. Everyone, like, there are other teams feeling this as well. And then I looked at the Los Angeles Kings, and they haven't been as bad as the Oilers, but not fantastic either. Their last game, so they won 3 games to start February, and then they lost their last game before Four Nations 2-1 to the Ducks. I know the feeling. And then they played Utah and beat them, and played Vegas and beat them, and then lost 3-2 to the Canucks in overtime and lost 6-2 to the Stars last night. So not fabulous, not terrible, but kind of average. And then look at the Flames, the team that's chasing us. They started February with a loss to Detroit, and then they beat the Kraken, and then lost to the Leafs, lost to the Avalanche, lost in overtime to the Kraken. So they ended with 3 losses in a row going into the Four Nation break. And then they have followed with a 3-2 win in San Jose, a 3-1 win against the Capitals, and a 3-0 loss to the Lightning. So not the greatest month either for the Flames. And just I'll flip it over to the Canucks as well here. Just give me 2 seconds. But yeah, it gives me hope that we're not the only, like, sometimes I can feel like we get in a little bit of a bubble of, Canuck land and what's happening, and that can feel like the world is ending. And then I look around, I'm like, okay, well, we're not the only ones that the sky is falling on. In February, the Canucks lost in overtime to the Red Wings, beat the Avalanche 3-0, beat the Sharks in overtime, and beat the Leafs. That's how we ended going into Four Nations.
Felt so good.
Sure did. And then we came out of it, lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, lost to Utah 3-1 and 2-1, beat the Kings 3-2 in overtime, and lost this last game to the Ducks. So, like, that's, I would say, a pretty average month, looking at it that way. So that has helped me feel a bit more okay about where we're at. At least we're not the Oilers. And it
Still
gives
chasing
me
the Oilers, but
true. But gives me hope that, okay, we need to get going, but it isn't as end of the world as I felt on Friday. Though you can't keep dropping games to the
no.
Utah and to the Ducks.
No. It has to change, absolutely, but they didn't doom their season with this recent run. It was an opportunity for other teams to really make up some ground, but they fumbled it as well. Nobody's taken advantage
Exactly.
of the Canucks' woes over the last stretch here, and that's great for Vancouver. A couple of bold moves at the trade deadline, rejuvenate the team a little bit, and maybe try to bring in a bit of goal scoring. And this season isn't sunk yet. Still a path forward that leads to at least playoff hockey. Hard to see the team, I think, winning around at this point.
Never know.
Um,
Never know.
yeah, I think the Jets are an ugly matchup if we squeak in. Um, yeah, Vegas wouldn't be a great matchup either, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not doomed yet. And you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. So
That's right.
there's always that hope.
But it'll be very interesting to see where Canucks management is now heading into the deadline with what we've just outlined. Like, where are their heads at? Do they think we're in go now mode? Because we're in the playoffs as of Saturday morning, March 1st. So, like, are you going to tell your fans, your players, and your owner that, hey, sorry, we're actually not going to go for the playoffs while we're actually currently in a playoff spot in,
Can't.
like, a pretty, I would say, like, a situation where there's not a lot of teams that are, like, right there with you. Like, it wouldn't take much to cause some separation. And the Flames have a really hard schedule ahead. They've played the Capitals and the Lightning. They lost to the Caps. Or sorry, they beat the Caps, lost to the Lightning, but then they've got the Panthers and the Hurricanes, the Flyers and the Stars in their next 4. 3 of those are, like, cup contenders yet to come. So they haven't got the easiest schedule either, and then we play them in 2.5 weeks. So, oh man, they play us, the Avalanche, the Leafs, the Rangers, the Devils. that's a tough lineup. So they haven't got the easiest schedule either. So there's hope there, but it'll be interesting to see which direction the Canucks go in terms of moving guys. Like, what kind of posture are we taking going down the stretch here?
Yeah, the options are always posed as, are they buyers, are they sellers,
Right.
or are they standing pat? I think in the case of the Canucks, the answer is yes. Yes to all of it, right? I think they have to be buyers because I just don't see a scenario in which you can ever full on punt on a season when you have Quinn Hughes. We
Right.
have
I
him
agree.
guaranteed this season, next season, and the one after. That's it. That is all the Quinn Hughes that you are guaranteed to have. Beyond that, if he wants to walk, he's walking. So
Yeah.
you cannot waste one of those seasons because you go, well, yeah, we're in a playoff spot, but we're not in a great playoff spot. No, you, I think, owe it to everybody involved to at least try to improve the team.
Yeah.
And I think that's going
Completely
to
agree.
mean bringing guys in and moving guys out. You're going to sell on guys, you're going to buy guys, and maybe you even keep a couple of guys as own rental, which is a term that for whatever reason I hadn't really ever heard before this year,
Oh,
but then I've
really?
heard it a
Oh,
ton
yeah.
this year.
I would say it got coined like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it was
Okay.
kind of like when Pittsburgh and Boston were really good. I would say that's kind of what when I remember it coming about, and
Huh.
yeah, yeah.
Somehow managed to miss me. But
But yeah, if you're
yeah,
looking for more of our thoughts on the deadline and what we think the Canucks need to do or might do, we have a trade deadline preview show that it will be out probably by the time this one's out. So
yeah.
would
We could
recommend
talk about
giving that
this
a
for a long
listen.
time, and we do. But
Exactly. Should we get into dog of the week?
oh, let's do Dog of the Week.
All right.
Andy has struggled with Dog of the Week. And frankly, yeah, we're gonna get into Dog of the Month after, and that's been tough too. But
Well, I'll give you platform on dog of the week.
sure. Okay. My Dog of the Week, I'm going to give, I think, to Connor Garland
Nice.
for a couple of reasons. One, just the sheer amount of abuse that guy takes
It's so true.
night in and night out, and it never slows him down. It never stops him. It barely ever slows him down, and it's relentless. Like he had an all out war with Jacob Truba
Oh man, that was
versus the
vicious.
Ducks,
Yeah.
and the size difference there is what 5-6 inches at
And
least.
like several 100 pounds.
It's massive, but he did not back down at all, and the refs weren't going to call anything. It was clear you could do pretty much whatever you wanted
Yeah.
to in that battle, and it was not going to get called.
Yeah.
And he didn't back down. Add in the fact that he's got a couple of goals, and he's one of the few Canucks that are, fairly consistently putting up some points at least. And I think that that's earned him my Dog of the Week.
He had the overtime winner, 2-goal game against the Kings, the one
Yep,
game we won this week. Yeah, I love that. Um and he never really complains in those situations where he's getting manhandled a little bit by some bigger players. I never really see him go like maybe he'll go and like say something to the ref or something like that, but it never. I think he understands that that's his role and that's just what's going to happen, and he doesn't take it personally or think that some big change needs to happen. That's just yeah. I
he's not
am
out there pouting, bringing
yeah.
down the vibes. Like he's just a dog
He's a
out there.
dog. Yeah, 100%. I'm going with a very similar player, a player that also gets roughed up a ton. I think against the Ducks, I looked, they zoomed in on him and he just had blood all over his jersey. And that's one Nils Höglander. He had a
Yes.
really good week this week. Underlying stats, he was the best Canuck of the week, maybe best Canuck of the month, hard to say. But he has looked so good. He's almost scored. He did score, kind of, against I think it was Utah, and that goal got disallowed because of some goalie interference. But then he scored against, was it the Ducks or the King? No, it was the Kings. I think he opened the scoring against the Kings. Maybe one of those two. Um, and yeah, he's looked very good. He has gone to the corners. He has had the energy for the Pedersen DeBrusque line. I just thought he had a really good week. So he gets my dog of the week, Niels Höglander.
I love it as the unofficial president of the Nils Höglander fan club for quite some time. I love it. I'm glad to see that he gets a little bit of recognition now and again. I think he does so many things well to drive play, to set up chances for his line mates. Hasn't been rewarded for it an awful lot this year, but he does an awful lot to move the play in the Canucks' favor. So I
Indeed.
love that pick. So a couple of our shorter kings for our dogs of the week.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Well, next we're looking at the Dog House, the player that has not exactly looked all that amazing. I can't remember. Were we supposed to decide together on the player that in the doghouse? I think so, right?
I think it can be a negotiation when it's not obvious, but
And it's pretty obvious, I think.
I think it is. And
Yeah.
I think we also we were up in the air about whether a player needs to earn their way out of the doghouse or can just be supplanted by somebody who was even worse. But I think in either scenario, I mean, I don't think this player has been supplanted. Um, and I think
Yeah.
even if he wasn't in the doghouse, he would probably earn his way in. I'm
I,
assuming we're on the same page with this.
yes,
That this
definitely.
is once again going to be Elias Pettersson.
EP40. Yes, indeed. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know how much more we need to say about it that hasn't already been said. If you're wondering about our thoughts of why he's in the doghouse, listen to the last 3 episodes. They outlined it pretty well. And
Do
I
you want to
think,
own up to your brief naive moment
oh man, yeah.
of PD
Oh, geez.
PD optimism?
I thought he looked really good against the Kings, especially the first 2 periods. I thought he was really skating, and I wasn't trusting it because I've seen this before, but I was hopeful, especially going into the deadline. I want him to have as many good games as possible to try and boost that value if we are indeed looking to move him. And I got excited, and he was very quick to get rid of that excitement the next night. So yeah.
There
Um,
was one thing in that game that stood out to me so much as just being so egregious, and that was getting the puck in the defensive zone, having time and space to skate it out of the zone and look for a good pass, and he just flips it out. He doesn't
no,
move his feet at all and just dumps it out.
he didn't just flip it out. He went dead controller. He went video game style where the person's controller dies and the player's skating and then stops and just starts gliding forward. And then the player's controller turns back on. They're like, oh, I just got to move it. And then he flipped it out.
Uh-huh.
That's what happened.
It
It's
it it's just one of those things where at a bare minimum, it's he's been hearing it, move your feet, and he couldn't move his feet. I don't even care if you move them fast, man. Just
right.
move them a little
Yeah.
bit. Try to skate it. And
Go
then if
into
you're getting pressured, yeah, get rid of the puck, move it. That's fine. But when you've got time and space, skate the puck.
So I think Elias maybe doesn't realize he's allowed to like lift his skates off the ice, because if you watch, his favorite thing to do is to do those like the
The little
C's.
SC
Yeah.
things. Yeah, yeah.
So that he can just like keep the momentum and just kind of wiggle his way up and down the ice, not actually skate. He just wiggles. And I'm like, dude, just skate. Like, I understand it's fun to do that. I do that on my public skates as well. But this is the NHL. Like, skate into the zone. When you have the puck, don't just wiggle around.
I saw that being taught to my son like a decade ago when he first strapped on some skates. It's like draw the
Oh,
little
man.
C's on the ice.
And
Yep.
if your knee like is impeding you from skating, then you just have to like sit out. Like, you make that decision. Like, if it's really that bad. But I've seen him like speed burst enough times. I saw him go to Four Nations. He opted in for Four Nations. So like, you can't have the excuse that, oh, I'm just not playing well, because you are playing, like, you can skate well. You just seem to be choosing not to. And like, Talkett right before Four Nations saying, I took him into into the office, we watched video, and he said it himself, I need to move my feet. And then we
Yeah.
come out of that and he continues to not. I'm like, I don't know.
Yep. No, it's pretty firmly
Yeah.
EP40. Another week in the doghouse. Um,
Yep.
and it's super sad because there are so many guys who haven't been performing, who haven't been living up to their contracts and the expectations, but just nobody has missed the mark in those ways worse than EP40.
Like
So
it's like I listen to podcasts and they're like, hey, let's just try and figure out another guy who has fallen off like Pedersen has in the league, just at any point. And they're like, Huberto, maybe? But he still had like 50 some points in the 2 seasons. Pedersen has to go a point per game for the rest of the season in order to hit 50. He currently has 7 points in the last 19. That's not a point per game. So it's
it's it's just
it's
not good enough.
something I've never seen before. Like I've no like sometimes with Vancouver stuff you can just be all consuming. This is I look around, I've never seen this before. I have no idea what's going on. So anyway,
We'll see.
we will see. Off to Dog of the Month. What have you got, sir?
So for Dog of the Month, we really only had two opportunities to even have a Dog of the Week. Four Nations put a pretty big dent in the momentum of choosing our Dog of the Week. I mean, I guess if you wanted to choose a Canuck Dog of the Week for the Four Nations, I guess you'd have to give it to Lankinen, um, sort of by default.
Rick Tocchet?
Rick Tocchet,
It's been
yeah,
done
yeah.
before.
Oh man,
Rick Socket, baby.
I had blocked it out. I guess I forgot you gave Tocchet the dog. Oh, okay. Oh, and if anybody's wondering, we've kind of scrapped the dog of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, we're going with dog of the week, and then we'll look at as we're doing now, dog of the month. So I think, given that it was Connor Garland this week, if I look at the totality of February, there's only 8 games, and there was one guy who led the team in scoring for those 8 games and injected a huge dose of optimism and speed and excitement into the club. So my dog of the month will be Philip Hedl.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a great pick. Yeah, he has done a lot for this team since he's joined, and I think he has even more potential. But I've been so happy with him. I think that's a great choice. For my dog of the month, I think it's the guy who I feel like has been the most consistent Canuck this month. The guy who has shown up night in and night out, and I really haven't had too much to complain about him. And has played most games in this month, and that is Kevin Lankinen. I thought he's had a very solid month. He's kept the Canucks in, I think, every game they've played, and he also went to Four Nations and beat out the other two Finnish goaltenders. I think the only bad game he really had was against Canada, but that's when McKinnon and McDavid were ripping him. And I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really blame them for that. And they had no defense on their team because they were all injured. So huge kudos to Kevin Lankinen. He also gets the contract this month. And something I was looking for was, okay, he gets the contract. Now what is he going to look like? And he has looked spectacular. I thought he's looked even better since having the contract. And I think it will help him maybe even have a bigger voice and role in the team. So fantastic. Good job, Kevin Lankinen.
I had the same thought after he signed that contract, and I think we've just been a little hurt, a little burned
By who? Who
recently.
do you think?
Quick trip to the doghouse, and we can probably answer that question. Yeah, I think
uh,
he's been so solid, and with all of the injury and uncertainty around Demko, he's just been like a saving grace for the team. He kept them in it while Demko was out in the beginning. He's been a rock all year. Good vibes guy. Works hard, prepares hard.
yeah.
It's a great pick.
I would like to give both the defensive Pedersens honorable mentions. I thought they both also had a
Mm,
great month.
yes. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that wraps that up. Do you have anything else to mention about the week in review?
I don't know if we need to crown a dog of the month or if we just want to let
Oh,
it stand.
I
I
mean,
think
we
we
can
can
put it
both
to vote.
award points for dog of the month, but I wonder
Yeah.
if the champion should be rewarded an extra vote or an extra
Hmm.
point.
I mean, do we leave it up to the coin?
You'd like that, wouldn't you? I'm going to save the coin
Okay.
for the draft
Okay.
because I believe that it's going to turn around for me. But if it doesn't, I'm going to just make a new coin, a double-sided
You're
Andy
gonna
coin.
edit it out.
If I made the first coin, I can make the second, and it'll be all Andy.
I want to see. I want to see the coin prior to being flipped.
That would be wise. Yep. Um, no, I think we can negotiate it. Um, and I think in this case, I'm willing to bend a little bit um, to the Lankinen side. I am glad that Heedle got his honor in my dog of the month, but I think given his appearance in Four Nations, given his and I'm going to give a little bit of extra credit to Lankinen for all of the months leading up to February that we
Totally.
didn't award a dog of the month. Um, and the contract, I think it's all kind of pointing towards Kevin Lankinen. So
Nice.
if you're on board, I'm on board.
Fully on board.
All right. The Dogs on Skates first official dog of the month is Kevin
Love
Lankinen.
it.
Congratulations.
All right. Now we're off to the dog park. All right, welcome back. Yeah, we are in the dog park now. So the dog park is kind of what we've named as the part of the show where we go through all and have fun with all the games and segments and things like would you rather's and different things like that. So we've just put it
Kind of
under
kind
the
of the
dog
things
park.
that don't quite rise to the level of their own dedicated segment.
That's right. Yeah. And they'll just kind of, switch in and out episode by episode, but should be a lot of fun.
Some things
So
like the draft will be here every week, but yeah, these
that's
other
right.
smaller segments, they're for the dog part.
That's right. Exactly. So we're going to start off by doing a would you rather. And this would you rather is for Andy. So I'll be asking him would you rather questions and he will be deliberating on them and figuring out which way he would like to go. So I'll just set that up here. So the first would you rather question, Andy. Would you rather battle in the corner with Chris Pronger or commit to blocking a shot by Shea Weber? And these are both in the playoffs, so neither guy is letting off the gas on.
And in their physical prime, we're not talking like today's Chris
We're
Pronger.
talking like 28 to 30-year-old players.
Okay. All right. And I am in typical hockey gear. I cannot prepare
Correct.
especially for either.
You're just in a hockey game.
Can I choose what part of my body is blocking the shot?
I mean, you can try.
Oh,
but like
man.
you don't know where the shot is going, so
I think I would block the shot because you have a chance of a whiff. You got a chance of just right off the shin pad or catching you somewhere that's real nicely padded. If you're battling in the corner, you're probably coming out of there with an injury of some sort.
With Chris Pronger, he's gonna like cross check you in the ribs and try and cut your Achilles with his skate.
That's exactly what came to mind. Yeah. Now, if I could wear like cut resistant socks, or
I mean, you probably can. Most players do.
But back then,
yeah, I'll give you the cut resistant socks. I think that's fair. I mean, it might not fully work. You might just break your Achilles, but
yeah. No, I think I would still go with the shot block. Where did you end up on this?
How do you make the shot block? Like, how do you attempt to block it? What does it look like?
Oh, it's skating forward with my chin tucked and my my gloves covering my what I referred to last episode as lower body. Yeah. And then honestly, just hoping that he whiffs or misses me entirely. I don't even care if he scores. That's fine. I got to go out there and commit to blocking it, but that doesn't mean that I do block it.
Yeah.
It just means that I'm standing in there committing to it.
So I'm with you. I'm going to take the blocking the shot of Shea Weber or committing to it, but I am going to go like fetal position. So it's going to be knees tucked up into the chest, and I'm going to have like hand over
Oh,
face and hand over like anywhere else and just cover as much of my body as I can.
now that makes you. Oh, I don't know if that makes you an easier target or not. It makes you a wider target, and
Yeah.
depending on how close you are to him, that may guarantee you get hit by it.
But like in a game, I want to block the shot. Like I'm going into it wanting to block the shot.
Oh, interesting. See, I don't care at all. I just want to survive. Unless
Yeah,
I'm
that's
unless I'm
fair.
on like an NHL contract and a condition of
Assume
it
you are
is
like so
blocking
you're an
shots.
NHL player, but
Oh,
like yeah. I mean, I think the
yeah.
way you said it is how most guys would actually do it.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
also if you go down in the fetal position, you're effectively taking yourself out of the play,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah,
So,
just fully committing to it in the most awkward looking block ever.
yeah.
Okay, next, would you rather get cross-checked in the face by Connor McDavid, and if you can ask Connor Garland how that feels or whatever if you would like, or would you like, or would you rather like to get licked on the inside of your visor by Brad Marchand?
Oh, I'm going to take advantage of a poorly worded question
Oh
here,
no.
and I'm going to say Brad Marchand because he can lick the inside of my visor all he wants. I just don't want him to lick me.
Dude, do you know how close his tongue has to get to your face in order to lick your visor?
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's not licking my face while licking
I
the
I
visor.
think
He's licking the inside of my visor.
I don't think you're thinking this all the way through. Think about how close Marchand's face and tongue and everything have to get to your face in
Hmm.
order for that to occur.
Oh yeah, it'd be super close, but it wouldn't lick me
I couldn't do it. I
from the
would
wording
rather
of the
get cross
question.
checked in the face by Connor McDavid than have
Oh, that's
that rat
nonsense.
lick, like, be up in my face and lick the inside of, like, that is disgusting. That is
Lick him
horrible.
back.
No way. I apologize
What
to anyone who's eating right now.
what the assault on one's taste buds if you
Oh
were to do
man.
that.
Oh, disgusting.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
awful. Shame on
Uh
you.
okay. I mean both things that have happened. So would you rather, this is the last one. Would you rather eat everything for the rest of your life with a spoon or with a knife?
Oh. Any
So
limitations or anything on either utensil?
I don't think so. Like, do you have questions?
I think just like, is it a butter knife or like a big chef knife? Or like,
Hmm.
is it up to me which knife?
It's a non-serrated steak knife. So like it's sharp, non-serrated, and like not
I would
overly large. It's like the
probably mess myself up with that. Could
good
I
luck
have a
eating cereal.
spork?
No,
Dedicated spoon.
dedicated. It's a spoon or a knife. And it's like it's the little spoon. It's not like the giant spoons. Like the normal, like your normal
Like
teaspoon.
teaspoon.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Um. Hmm. I think the risk of injury uh, from a knife blade like that would be too high. I am not a cautious enough eater.
Okay.
So
So
Wait, would I still
now,
be able to cut things? Would I still have use of a knife? I just have to use the spoon to eat? Or would
no,
I
no, no.
lose the use of a
You
knife?
lose. You'd never use a fork or a knife again. You only have a spoon in order to eat your food.
See, I value steak so
Yeah,
highly,
exactly.
but I could get steak bites.
uh I mean, I suppose I don't know. I'm
I could get my wife to pre-cut my
because
steak
then you're
for me.
getting people cutting it now. Because then you could just say people can feed you too.
I
No,
don't
it's
think she signed up for that.
no, I don't think so.
Um,
No,
shoot.
this is like you're only eating like you're not going out to eat. So like this is the food you're eating at home.
I still think it's got to be spoon.
Oh man. Like this is goodbye to chopping steak or eating a steak, eating a chicken, eating a pork chop.
But I
Goodbye
could
to
get
having
steak bites, or I
spaghetti.
could get like one of those sliced steaks that they put on a salad or a sandwich. I could still get steak adjacent.
I suppose. I suppose. Um yeah, I'm trying to think of what else like a lot of pastas, like long noodle pastas and
Would be
um
super tough with a knife too.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I think spoon is probably the right answer. Um
But
yeah,
it's not
with
a slam dunk.
no, it's not. It's not. I don't know. Like I like the knife works as a fork and a knife, which I like.
It's a very limited fork though.
I mean, it's just a stabbing utensil, right? Which is
Yeah.
all a fork is.
Yeah. But the multiple tines are a pretty important element of that stabbing.
Maybe that's why we have forks. Yeah, it's
Probably.
fair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Somebody's
yeah, I
just
think.
stabbing themselves in the mouth. There's got to be a better way.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, I think I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's one
Um.
of those black and white infomercials. It's a guy bleeding out of his mouth.
Oh no.
Introducing fork.
And if you call right now, you get the second one for half price,
Oh
completely
my
free.
goodness. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Good invention,
Um.
the fork. Shout
Who'd have
out to
thunk?
the
Who'd
guy
have
who
thunk?
came up with fork. I assume his
Oh
name
man,
was Fork.
they found him in the road. Pa pa. All right.
Cut the show. It's done. It's done.
Okay. Um, off to Canucks
Wow.
word chain. That is all you, my guy, while I collect
Can-
myself.
Canucks word chain. So, probably seen these online already. I am going to give J Dog a word. That word is going to form the first part of a 2-word phrase that comes after it. Um, and he will have to try to connect the chain as quickly as possible. He is going to have a 1-minute timer. I'm going to set up the timer for 1 minute.
And I'm going to get wrecked on this.
I've made it pretty easy for the first one.
Don't say that. No, it's even worse.
It is so easy that if he doesn't get it, it would be absolutely humiliating.
All right.
So here we are. J-Dog, you can see the first letter of each of the second part of each phrase. I'm going to give you the first word, and when I do, the timer will start. Are you ready?
I'm ready, hopefully.
The starting word is home.
Home team.
Team.
Team goal?
No.
Team
Hockey's a team.
This is so much harder with pressure.
Yeah.
Team game.
Team game. Game
Over.
over
Time.
time.
Out.
Out.
Of. Oh, that could be so many things.
The
Out
puck is out
of
of.
zone.
Nope.
Out of play.
Play.
Play off.
Off.
Side.
Offside. Time's up, but finished off.
Side. 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 What would it be?
This one was a bit of a twist at the end. I wanted you to get close, but then still fail.
You sucker.
Side burns.
Oh, sideburns. Very good. That was enjoyable. I enjoyed that. That was good.
Excellent.
Although, if it's only a minute for the next one, I'm going to get wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah. I might have to give him a little bit longer. Just wanted to fit it into a short.
Fair.
Yeah. Or maybe a few fewer words. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
Nicely done.
Is there another one or is it just the one?
No, I'm going to space them out because keeping them
Canucks
or hockey focused is shockingly difficult. So I've only managed to come up with like 3 halfway decent ones, and I don't know that I'll be able to do any more. So we'll space those out a little bit.
Sounds good. Okay, so the last
dog in the park.
Yeah, let's go with that. The last dog in the park
to sniff. I don't know.
Oh man. We're looking at starting lineups for the Canucks all time. Team North America versus Team World. Now, did we want to go, I can't remember, did we want to go starting 5 versus starting 5 or starting like team versus starting team?
Well, I think it's not a full team. I think it's your starting 5 plus your starting goaltender for North America versus the world.
Starting 5 that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So Team North America.
And I guess we can just take turns picking, or
I think we do it together. I think we work together to build this.
Oh man. All right. Team North America?
Team North America.
All right.
So
where do you want to start with? I'll let you make the first pick, and then I will either confirm or propose. I
think we got to go Quinn Hughes. I think that's the clear.
That is probably the biggest slam dunk in the whole exercise.
Yeah.
I'll make a nomination. I'm going to give the center ice position.
That's what I was just humming about.
To Trevor Linden.
Oh, okay. I was between JT Miller and Ryan Kessler.
And they were my 2 alternative choices. If you had gone with Linden.
That's good. Yeah. What was Trevor Linden's numbers?
Surprisingly decent, especially in his prime. Like you wouldn't be lacking for offense with Linden down the middle. And you've got character for days. And both Miller and Kessler, they're cut from the same cloth, those two.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily jive with everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think as Linden as your 1C,
he didn't have like great points.
Never like incredible.
He was never a point per game player.
But fairly solid, fairly consistent. And Kessler was never Kessler was solid points wise, but
yeah,
he was a 2C.
Ryan Kessler. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Ryan Kessler also never a point per game player. Dang, I didn't realize that. Well, now I have to look at JT Miller. And I mean, his personality alone might prevent him from making this lineup.
And
But
that was a big part of my consideration because the North American centers really drop off.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah, because he had 103-point season last year, JT Miller, and then he had 82 in 81 the year before and 99 in 80 the year before that. So he's 3 straight years of over a point per game. So
Yeah,
points wise, by far the
for sure.
best center we've had. But I
Yeah,
think you're right. I think you got to go Trevor Linden here.
yeah. And just in terms of, a team that you would just want to get behind and cheer for, any team with Trevor Linden's gonna fit that bill.
For sure. Okay. So what are you thinking for right wing? I'm not really sure where to go there.
Okay. I have a 1A and a 1B. And again, I went with character and easier to cheer for versus perhaps the superior player.
Okay.
To me, it came down to Stan Smeel or Todd Bertuzzi.
Yeah. Todd
And I
Bertuzzi
gave it
was
to
right there.
Steamer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. I have to check his numbers too. What did he have?
He produced. He was not a big guy.
Sorry, as it loads here. Yeah, it's like, would Brock Besser be right there as well, potentially?
You could. Stan Smeel had um, about 10 years straight that he scored 20 to 30 and two that were well into the 30s. Never quite got to 40. So quite Besser like in terms of his goal scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, just extremely, extremely consistent. Um,
Yeah. The one hitch I'd have is he was doing this when you can score like goals were a dime a dozen. I wonder like if that's a knock on like, is a 30 goal scorer in the 80s the same as like a 18 goal scorer now or that sort of thing, like even
yeah, I don't know the equivalency
yeah,
there.
but I know like the 80s had ridiculous scores, like I like the goal scores then were just, it was absurd. But I like it. It was Stan and Bertuzzi, right? Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
Stan. I mean, Stan and Linden as a pairing up top is pretty fun.
I've absolutely got time for Brock Besser in that conversation.
Yeah, yeah. And then left wing. Um,
What do you got for me?
I don't know. Um,
I'll go ahead and pull up my guy's stats because I know you're going to ask.
yeah, good call. um, I don't know. Like, who was on the wing? Who was on the wing of Morrison on the West Coast Express on the other side?
Naslund.
Okay, I had in my head that he was a center. That's what I was thinking as well. But I had in my head that he was a center. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know who we go with North American left wing. I really don't know who that could be.
And I would have had a hard time with this, except I kind of looked into a guy when we were doing the all hair draft.
Oh,
And I didn't realize this guy scored as much as he did.
who is it?
Tony Tanti.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
Undersized player, like 5'9".
Yeah.
But he had goals. These are consecutive years from 84 to 87. He had years of 45, 39, 39, 41, and 40. Like
Wow.
that is a solid stretch
No
of goal
kidding.
scoring. And those weren't great years for the Canucks, right? That was after their early 80s run.
Right.
Not a lot of playoff
Yeah.
stuff in there. But yeah, incredibly solid and an incredible mullet.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we need one more defenseman. Um, Matthias. No, Matthias is
No.
European,
Yes.
and Sammy's European. Oh
Yes.
boy, Phil Hronik.
No. Also European.
Oh, geez, of course. Um,
Canucks have been heavily European
yeah.
for a while.
Oh man,
The first name that came to mind was a guy that I wanted back on the Canucks recently in
Chris
Chris
Tanev.
Tanev.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I don't know that he would honestly be the best of all time. Like I know the Canucks had like I think Paul Reinhardt. I think it was Paul.
Mm.
Um, he was a pretty high scoring defenseman, but again in a very different era. Um, I also gave honorable mention to Cam Hughes, who I thought
Oh, of
was
course.
just incredibly solid.
Ooh. Oh, that's
Um,
tough. I'm. Oh
and a
man.
shout out to Bieksa, who I don't think
Yeah.
is really in that conversation,
Yeah.
but in terms of, if I had to say fill out an entire defense
Yeah.
with North American Canucks, he'd probably make
Yeah.
my
Definitely.
my starting six.
Man, I'm tempted to go Hammer over.
Right?
Oh, that's tough. But like
Yeah.
you know that you have the chemistry between Tanev and Quinn already. Oh,
Right?
that's really tough. That's really tough. I
But like both super character guys, both
yeah,
super easy to cheer
yeah.
for. Like you can't really go wrong. I'll leave it up to you.
My vote's gonna go to Dan Hamhuis
Nice.
because of his longevity. Chris Tanev got hurt a lot, and
Yeah.
that was just tough. So
And Ham Hughes, BC boy. Gotta love it.
yeah, heck
Northern
yeah,
BC boy.
yeah.
Let's
Part
go.
owner of the Cougars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go over
Well, we got
Team
one
North
more North American. I think it's a very
goaltender.
easy choice
The
at goaltender.
goaltender.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say this is an easy choice.
What do you mean?
So
How many
I
Hall
think
of Fame
it has
goaltenders
to be
have the
Roberto
Canucks had?
Luongo, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But like Thatcher Demko is right there.
Oh, no.
In
No.
terms of like if
If you had
you're
both of them healthy at their prime
yeah.
for one game,
Mm-hmm.
it all on the line, sure.
That's what I mean. That's what we're
But
talking about.
if you're actually building a team,
Yeah.
right?
It's got to be
Luongo's super reliable, super
Oh
durable.
man. Yeah. Yeah, probably. That's
I
not
would probably
easy
even
though.
have gone like McLean before I went Demko.
Oh man.
Just because Demko's injury status is
Yeah.
just such
We've had so
an
many good
issue for
goaltenders.
me.
you got Jacob Markstrom and
European.
um yeah, oh man.
And Schneider was really good
Schneider. Yeah.
until we traded him and he kind of stunk.
Yeah. Oh, there was one other guy I was thinking of. Was Ryan Miller.
Oh, yep.
We had Ryan Miller as well, who
Yep. His name escaped me.
would be right there as
But
well
yeah.
if we're talking like in
If you needed a guy
prime.
for a big game, yep.
Yeah.
Ryan Miller.
I mean, we had
is a
Roberto
solid
Luongo
option.
versus Ryan Miller in 2010 gold medal game.
Right?
Yeah.
That,
I have a hat signed by Ryan Miller that I got when they were in training
nice.
camp about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. That was quite the stretch
Okay.
that we've had for
So
goaltending.
we're
good on Luongo though?
yeah,
I've convinced
we gotta
you?
go Bobby Lou.
Okay.
So we got Trevor Linden at center with who are the wings?
Tony Tanti and Stan Smeel.
Right, that's why I didn't remember.
That's fair.
And then we got Quinn Hughes and Dan Hamhuis on. I mean Hughes and Hammer. That's an awesome D pairing. And
Right?
then Bobby Lou. That's pretty solid. Okay.
I think the only thing we didn't give a shout out to was left wing, which is kind of interesting. I just don't think there's been a lot of North American talent there. Like, I think
Jake DeBrusk.
Yeah. I mean, by the time his contract is up, maybe.
Maybe. You never
Right?
know.
If he can find some consistency, absolutely he could be in there.
Totally.
I don't know much about like the 90s teams as I should, but I think one of the Cardinals was left wing.
Jeff Courtnall, maybe?
Yeah. I think he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, beyond that, I was having a hard time coming up with anybody.
Yeah. Okay. Off to team. Oh, and Jeff Courtnall was left wing. That's right.
Okay.
Oh, geez. He was like pretty okay. Close to a point per game. A
Yeah.
lot of seasons.
Yeah.
Off to.
Tanty just stood out for his hair, so
Yeah, true. Off to Team Europe or rest of world, I guess.
yeah, I found
Um,
this easier
yeah.
up front by a
Oh,
lot.
well, like you've got Henrik Sedin probably looking at for your first line center, but
Yep.
then you've also got Matt Sundin, which
Yeah,
is like,
and I guess it depends which Matt Sundin you get. If you're getting prime Matt Sundin when he didn't play for Vancouver,
yeah,
right? You could probably make that
yeah,
argument. But
yeah.
if you look at the time they played for Vancouver,
Hmm.
I don't know how
Which is
you.
probably what we have to do.
I would
Yeah,
think.
because like, yeah. Um,
But then I think like when we're looking at defense, I cheated a little bit and I wanted to find somebody earlier than like 2010 for the Canucks.
mm,
So I did look up like older Canucks scoring, and Reinhardt, his name came up,
right.
but I think he only played like his last 2 seasons in the NHL with the
Oh,
Canucks.
gotcha. Okay.
So a bit of an asterisk there as
Totally.
well. But
Yeah. So we got to go Henrik Sedin at center. And
yep.
I assume we have to go Daniel Sedin at left wing, even
Yeah.
though that then crosses out Marcus Naslund as our left winger.
And that's tough,
Yeah.
but much like Brian Burke, I think you got to take the Sedins
Yeah.
as a pair.
But like you have Matt Sundin, who's a fantastic playmaker, and Henrik Sedin, who's a fantastic playmaker. Like that's, I mean, at least Daniel Sedin actually like did get quite a few goals and was a bit more of a shooter. That'd be tough to have two Henrik Sedins on one line.
Yeah.
Um,
Right wing,
yeah,
I had to go with the guy whose numbers retired, although you could debate whether it ought to be with Vancouver in Pavel Bure.
yeah. I think we have to. Yeah, I mean, who would contest him on the right side? Like, I
Uh,
can't think. There's nothing really that like jumps off the page at me off
McGillney?
the top of my head. I guess so. I don't know.
What kind of seasons did McGillney have? We should probably know this.
Probably should. Yeah,
We're not actually Canucks experts.
we're fans.
We're fans who like
Yeah.
to talk about the team.
That's right.
McGillney, pretty sure was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a 107-point season.
Oh, geez. Oh boy. What years?
That was 95, 96.
Oh, and that's like dead puck era. Oh, we have to give it to McGillney.
And in 92, 93 with Buffalo, he had 127. 51. No, sorry. Oh, good grief. 76 goals in 77 games. A goal per game in 92, 93.
What?
Wow.
That's crazy. That's wild. I
Okay,
mean,
I knew he was solid. His Vancouver goal totals were 55, then 31, then 18, then 14, then 21. But
oh,
a season of 76 goals,
but like that's
51
not with the
assists.
Canucks.
That's with Buffalo.
Pavel Bure with the Canucks had 60 goals, 50 assists, 110 points in a season, followed
Yeah.
by 60 goals, 47 assists for 107 points in a season where he played 7 less games than the year before.
What were his NHL totals for Bure?
Like in total in his career?
Yeah. Like I assume you're on Hockey DB.
Yeah, NHL totals 779 points.
In how many games played?
702.
Okay. So point per game wise, similar.
He's over. Yeah.
McGillney had 990 games played, 1,032 points, 473 goals.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I think career wise, they're comparable. McGillney had a longer career, I guess, but in terms of their Canucks performance,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be Bure. Hey,
I think it has to be because, like, those seasons were 92 to 94. And then in 97, 98, he had 51 goals, 39 assists for 90 goals or 90 points in 82 games. In like 80, 97, 98, that's like hardcore dead puck era, trap era, and he's putting up 90 points with 51 goals. And then, like,
yeah.
with the Panthers, he went on to have 58 goals and 59 goals in between 99 and 01.
And let's just think about a guy like that getting set up by the Sedins.
Like, yeah, okay, Barry, you're back in.
Yep, yep, that's fine.
So we got the
Um,
Sedins, we've got Bure, and
yeah,
on defense, Matthias Oland,
I think it gets tough on defense. I really struggled here. I came up with four names,
Sammy Salo.
didn't make my cut.
Really? Okay.
Although I think you could make the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Prior to Hughes, there was a guy who led the Canucks defense in most categories. That was Alex Edler.
Oh,
Big
geez,
part of
yeah.
it is because he played so many games
So
for
many games.
Vancouver.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
He was, and I've mentioned this before, that Alex Edler was that guy who I always felt like had every single tool you needed to be just an elite, like number one Norris caliber defenseman, but just never used them all at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, I think
Yeah.
if you want solid and consistent, Edler's right there.
Yeah.
I think Oland was more dynamic.
I think I have to go Oland one of those two defensive spots.
I can do that. I
I think
can
it
go
has to
Oland.
be.
Um, I think you give a look to Hronik. His
Yeah.
Canucks tenure hasn't been very long, but it's
Yeah.
been very solid.
How good was Pavel Demitra?
Uh, he was okay as a forward.
Oh, he's a forward.
Yeah,
Wow. It is ingrained in my brain that he's a defenseman. Never mind.
weird.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I found myself stuck with my recency bias. So I wanted to find somebody from a little further back to make sure we didn't overlook anybody. Check out Lume. Jyrki Lume.
How do you spell
And
that?
Lumme. And so I did cheat a little bit. I know you said we shouldn't really look
No, it's good.
at guys, but I wanted to make sure that we didn't overlook anybody
Mm-hmm.
who truly deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
Solid numbers from the back
Totally.
end.
Totally.
One of the Canucks' better goal scoring,
Yeah.
point producing defensemen.
Yeah.
Um,
So, question is him or Alex Edler?
I mean, it may be my recency bias, but I kind of like Alex Edler.
Yeah. So, I'm just looking.
You know what's weird is I
Matthias.
don't really have a sense for how good Hronik is just as Hronik.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a good complementary piece to Hughes,
Yeah.
but when Hughes was out, it's not like Hronik was outstanding.
Yeah.
He was just solid.
Yeah.
It's what you wanted him to be, but he's not the guy.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, hopefully one day, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out Hockey DB was missing which hand Matthias is, like left or right.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Oland or sorry, Edler and Lume are both left-hand shots. And I was like, oh, and
I think
Oland
it's
is as well.
I think it said Lume played the right side.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with Edler and Oland on our defense.
Okay.
Is that what we agreed to?
Edler Oland?
Edler Oland and Lume
Yep.
is the honorable mention.
Yep.
And then in net,
I think there was only one.
And
unless I'm
that's
totally forgetting somebody.
Jacob Markstrom.
I think it's Markstrom.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Eddie Lack.
As far as a
Uh,
character guy goes, man, I love Eddie Lack.
Mr.
But
Taco.
yeah,
Um, yeah, no, I'm good with that. So on team rest of world, we have Henrik Sedin at center, Daniel Sedin at left wing, Pavel Bure on the right side. That's slick. That is very impressive. Matthias Oland and Alex Edler on the back end, and Jacob Markstrom in net. Which team wins between? So there's that.
I think this is such a good game. I think this is such an entertaining matchup.
So we've got Hughes and Ham Hughes on the back end on Team North America. We got Luongo and net, and we've got Tanti and
Smeal
Schmiel
on the wings for
on the
Linden.
wings. And who is that center again?
Linden.
Linden, that's right.
I think up front the world destroys
I agree.
North America.
Yeah. But Quinn Hughes, baby.
Hughes and Ham Hughes with
Quinn
Luongo
Hughes.
behind them.
Man. Oh, I don't know.
I think defense by far goes to North America. I think goaltending goes to North America. But I think the gap up front is so big for world.
Henrik and Daniel with Bure, I think that might break the game. And I think that Jacob Markstrom is close enough in a game sample to Luongo that it won't make that big of a difference. Like we've seen Jacob Markstrom
real
be
good in
great
Vancouver
as well. So
yeah.
The thing with Luongo is he had a long career with the Canucks. Jacob Markstrom, if he had as long of a career, might have similar numbers. It's hard to say. But
could be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was fun.
Super tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening and wants to weigh in, if we overlooked somebody or if our analysis is way off, we certainly do skew to newer Canucks. It is what we're more familiar with
for sure.
I cheated, as I say, a little bit by looking up some older guys. I didn't want to leave some guys out that had a real claim to it.
But yeah, definitely leave a comment who you think we missed, or who you'd rather have seen in those lineups, and maybe who you think wins in that matchup.
Absolutely. I'd love to see that game. My goodness.
Off to the draft. All right, it's draft time. Today's draft, we will be selecting sports equipment for a battle royale in a coliseum.
Yes.
And I'm hyped. This is going to be very fun.
I had several iterations of my draft board as we refined the rules. I thought initially it was going to be like a Fortnite or PUBG with a lot of open spaces. So I was thinking like, okay, maybe like an electric bike or a bicycle to cover ground. But then we narrowed it down to a coliseum. So it's not a sports store. That was one idea. But then you could just grab other items and then the draft kind of becomes redundant. But yes.
This will be
so
fun.
A coliseum, 100 people.
And battle royale just means last man standing, essentially. It's battle to the death, last man standing. And it's the whole footprint of the Coliseum. It's not just in the Coliseum area. It includes the concourse and anywhere on the
stands,
the property of the Coliseum, in the building of some sort.
All fair game. If you find a way to suspend yourself from the roof and drop down on guys, good on you.
Exactly.
Fair game.
Do you have the special coin, the Jordan coin?
Is there even a point in flipping it? All right, let's do it. There is a J-Dawg on here, I promise.
Is there an Andy as well?
There is. I can assure you there is an Andy. All right. Good flip that time. And it's Andy. Not even lying. It's an Andy. All right. I'm almost disappointed, though, because I have two great options that I would have been happy with for my number one. So that's fine. Okay. First overall pick. I'm going offense out of the gate.
Okay.
I found that to be the harder thing to find something I'd be really happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going with an ice climbing pick / ice axe.
Nice. Yeah, very good. Oh, and we're also doing like no hunting, no fishing
Yes,
equipment, so
thank you
that kind of
for
thing. So
that. Would have been a bad pick if the whole hunting
I
section was
take a
available.
gun.
Choose an AR-15. Yeah. Yes, no
Nicely
guns
done.
or knives.
Nicely
So
done.
an ice climbing pick, ice
Well done.
axe. Thank you, sir.
I will be taking what I think is just like it was a pretty obvious pick. It was an easy 101 for me, and that's a baseball bat. Just
Yes.
pure blunt force, easy to swing. It's made for it. It'll be durable. I can use it again and again. It's not going to really wreck, I don't think. So going with baseball bat.
That was my alternative weapon of choice.
Yeah.
And I even
Yeah.
narrowed it down to, have you seen those axe bats
Whoa.
where they have like an axe handle that you grab onto?
Oh, no.
You haven't seen those?
No.
Because then it doesn't, if you're swinging it one-handed, if you have to at some point, then it's not like twisting in your hand and you've got a little more control with
Oh,
it.
totally.
Yeah. You're free to
Smart.
choose axe bat if you
Love
want.
it.
You have baseball bats in general.
I'm going to
Good pick.
take full cage hockey helmet with my second selection.
Nice.
Gotta protect the dome. That's I think I can take shots to the arms and legs a little bit more than I can the head, obviously. So
Probably not from my ice axe, but
well, more than the head.
that's fair.
Tis but a flesh wound. I'm going baseball bat and hockey helmet, full cage as my first two picks.
Okay. Now, I had a couple options for helmet, so I didn't put it too high because I was happy getting either one. It's a big brain move. I'm going with, for my number 2 pick, an MMA strike shield.
Whoa.
So you hold it and guys can kick it or punch it or whatever, like for training.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a strike shield in one hand and my ice pick in the other hand.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
I was trying to think of something like that, and I didn't quite get there. That wasn't on my list. Good pick.
Love it. Okay, my third pick. Again, my helmet's falling down the list. I'm going with specifically lacrosse gloves.
Okay.
Because as I envision hand-to-hand combat with somebody, stuff's going to hit the shaft of my axe and come flying down towards my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to bust it up. Mm-hmm. So I thought hockey gloves initially, but they're very bulky. The thumb doesn't have a lot of mobility. Lacrosse gloves have lots of protection because I also play with sticks. But they have a little more dexterity. So nice. I'm rocking lacrosse gloves.
Well done. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. Well, with my next pick, I'm going to go with a kettlebell as my alternative weapon, my other weapon of choice in my other hand. So I've got a bat in one hand and a kettlebell in another. I'm dual wielding, and I could go full torpedo and no one can touch me.
Like just spin just in a circle,
spinning constantly.
Okay.
And then this is where it gets hard.
Hold on. What kind of weight are we talking about?
Oh, dang. I was hoping you were going to ask.
Is it light enough that you can throw it? Or is it really heavy so that it's more like an impact thing?
I think I'm going to go with a 10-pound.
Okay.
I think that'll be, I was originally had 15, but I think I'm going to go with 10. I don't want it to be I don't want to fatigue due to carrying my weapon, but I think 10 will be heavy enough that it could do appropriate damage. Yeah.
And I think even the bat as well, you'd want to go with like a junior bat, like a lighter weight bat.
Aluminum.
Because otherwise, like one-handed would be super.
Yeah. Totally.
Interesting. Kettlebell.
And then, I'm going to go with hockey gloves for my next selection. I considered going with a goalie blocker, but I figured hockey gloves was the the best choice probably there. It'll do most of what a blocker would do anyway, but be a lot more mobile. So I'm
Okay.
going with hockey gloves and 15 or 10-pound kettlebell.
Nice. The 10 pound is the way to go. I fully support that decision.
Nice.
You gotta leave your ego at the door and go with function over
That's right. That's
flexing.
right.
Right. Okay. Um, I'm happy to get this pick as well. I'm going with a chest protector,
Hmm.
and I had to narrow down to goal like hockey goalie or lacrosse goalie. And I don't know if you would consider those the same or if those are two different things. Um, if they're the same, then I'm just taking goalie chest protector because that gives me chest and a large portion of arms.
Lacrosse chest protectors are much bulkier than hockey
They're
ones.
Yeah, they're bulkier and they protect you more from like blows from above.
Yeah.
Whereas hockey, most stuff's coming from
Yeah.
below.
I think you
So
got to choose.
if I have to choose, I will say lacrosse.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
man. I was in some goalie, like hockey equipment the other week, and it is so hard to move in that. It's the whole reason I didn't even select it because it is so difficult to just move in your net, let alone try and battle with it. Oh,
I
man.
I went quite defensive with
You're just
with
going to be
my
standing
choices.
there being like, good luck.
It is literally last man standing. And you're going to be spinning around with your heavy ass weaponry,
No, I'm actually
exhausting
not spinning
yourself.
around. I got a plan.
I'm going to mosey on up and just put my ice axe.
Oh, man.
Anyways, I'm going with lacrosse goalie, um, chest
Nice.
protector extending into the arms, lots of coverage, and then my last pick will be a football helmet, one of those new super big, super protective
Oh,
football
with
helmets.
the halo
All the just
cap,
the works.
like the
Yeah,
the triple size. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. One of those. I'm gonna be so safe, but I'm just gonna have my ice pick. That's it.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Well done. Well, I'm gonna go a bit more
One more
mobile
pick.
than you. Um, and I'm not actually just gonna be spinning in a circle. And I'm not actually going to be down at the Coliseum level, at least not at the Coliseum level if there's sand. I'm going to be hanging out in the concourse, in the up in the circular concourse area, doing laps in my rollerblades. Good luck trying to touch me. I'm going to be flying through there with a baseball bat in one hand and a kettlebell in the other. And anyone who tries to come and touch me, I'm ripping through there and have multiple weapons that I can be slinging or throwing or whatever. And I think it's going to be very effective. So I'm taking rollerblades with my final selection.
That is a risky pick.
Yep.
As long as you can keep moving, you're fine. But as soon as you're stationary fight, you're not going to be able to
I'm
plant your feet.
I'm pretty good on my blades, so I feel pretty okay
Ooh,
with it.
you'll have to be.
But I mean,
Man.
there's no point for a stationary fight. I don't have defensive equipment other than my helmet, so I have to keep moving. And
But I imagine, like in every battle royale, the as people are eliminated, the space will shrink.
right,
So eventually, your rollerblades will become irrelevant. It'll
I mean,
be
I can
just a
take them off.
small enough. Well, and then what? Now you're down an item.
Well, that I'm just in my socks in a concourse. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm messing you up with my ice pick.
Oh, you're in slippers. You haven't selected anything for your feet either.
Listen, footwear was assumed.
I don't know
Like
if it was.
clothing. I assume I'm wearing clothing. I
You're,
assume I have pants on.
you're, you're in a robe.
Oh man, and
Okay.
you're whipping around with your robe blowing in the breeze, just fully
Oh man.
at the mercy of Mother Nature. Oh jeez.
Oh. Is Mother Nature in the
Excellent.
battle royale?
I mean, I guess to an extent, in a coliseum, she would be.
Um,
All right. Well, we're
okay.
we're gonna do our best
Well,
to mock up some images of what we would look like in our draft selections, and
should
it should be pretty amusing.
be fun.
And then we'll see who gets the most votes if
Yes,
we
indeed.
get any
We
votes.
we will have the voting up in Spotify, and I hope on YouTube as well. We're gonna see if we're able to, but it'll definitely be on Spotify. So that should be a lot of fun.
Or just
Okay.
leave a comment. Let me know that I am undefeated in these drafts to date.
That's right. Exactly. Totally undefeated. Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Off to the last segment of the show. And it's a new segment. All right. Welcome back. We have the final segment of today, and it's a new segment. It is called Chooseday. Where every week we will be selecting from the docket of games that are being played on Tuesdays, because that is the day that it seems like most all games are going to be played for the rest of the year. We'll be making our selections toward which teams we think will win each game. And in the end, we're going to keep track of it. And in the end, we're still trying to figure it out whether there'll be a prize or a punishment, depending on who wins.
A humiliation.
But yeah, we got a big Tuesday coming up this Tuesday. The first game being the Flames and Flyers. Who you got, Andy?
So I think we'll alternate making our picks here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the other benefit of doing Tuesdays is that usually we get our videos up by Sunday. So we'll actually get it posted before the games start. So we can actually kind of lock in our picks and know that we don't already have the answers to the games before they happen.
And I mean, if anyone's into the sports betting out there, you can always throw a parlay down on one of our sets, probably mine, because
Yeah, I wouldn't choose mine. All right, I'll take the first game. I figured it's close to a coin flip. I'm going with the Flames.
I am with you. I'm also going to go the Calgary Flames for that first game. Next game, we have Hurricanes and Red Wings. I think I got to go Hurricanes here. Red Wings have been struggling a little bit lately. Gotta stick with the away team.
I also had the Hurricanes.
All right.
All right. Next up, the Sharks versus Sabres. I am taking the Sharks.
Okay. Oh man. I was really going back and forth on this one. Tuesday, that's before the deadline. I'm gonna go. Ooh, I'm gonna go Sabres.
Yeah, Sabres might be getting gutted by Friday.
I know. That's scary. But the players might be performing at their best trying to debut for getting out of that town. So
True. Very true.
next game we have Lightning and Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets have been balling out lately, so I think I'm gonna go with Blue Jackets here over the Lightning. Bit of an upset.
Interesting. I am taking what I assumed was a safer pick and going with the Lightning. This
Indeed.
next game, Predators Bruins, was I didn't know what to do here. I think Predators are suffering, and I think they're going to be selling off even more than the Bruins. Maybe. I'm going to take Boston.
I'm with you there. I'm also taking Boston.
I never want Boston to win. I just think that they might.
Yeah, fair. Next one we have Jets Islanders. Easy one for me. I'm taking the Jets out the way.
Yeah, it's the Jets. It's for sure the Jets for me. Next up, the Stars and Devils. I went Devils.
Oh man, Devils have been struggling. I'm going Stars there. Devils have been talked about as like the softest team in the league amongst competitive teams. I'm not confident about them heading into the playoffs this year.
Interesting. I think the Stars still have some holes to fill.
I
Not
mean, that's
convinced.
fair. That's fair. Maybe
It's
they'll
good
get
that
it
we at
done
least
by
have a
Tuesday.
couple of games that aren't
That's right.
the same. That's important. I
Ducks,
suspect the next one's
Oilers.
actually the next one might be a wild card one. Interested to see where you go.
Ducks all the way. A
Yeah,
team is hot. Oilers are not. Ducks all the way. Quack, 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 Mr.
interesting.
Ducksworth.
I think the Oilers are going to capitalize on a team that might let them get a bit of their mojo back. I'm going to take the Oilers.
Fair.
Avalanche Penguins.
Crosby versus McKinnon. Battle of Cole
Yeah,
Harbor.
I am going with McKinnon and the Avalanche.
I am as well. And lastly, we have Minnesota Wild and Seattle Kraken. Minnesota Wild all the way.
And I will take the Seattle Kraken.
All right.
So we have at least, I think, 4 games that are different.
Okay.
I think the Sharks game, the Devils, the Oilers, and the Kraken.
And we're both going to go winless. I'm curious to see how that goes.
It's going to be mutual destruction. Nobody
Defeating
wins.
the odds. We both went winless.
Somehow. It's not even possible, but we'll find a way.
That's right. Okay.
I look forward to seeing how that goes.
Me too. And
I think, you know what could be fun?
What's that?
What if we each put $1 down on our parlays each week?
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Just $1.
Yep.
And you can cash out at any point. And we just
Ooh.
see who's...
Okay.
Like, it doesn't roll over. So it's just your week to week. Right?
How about we put $1 down on our parlays, like between me and you, and so every week it's $1, and whoever has the best at the end of it gets whoever has the most wins. So it's not going to be like, I went 10 for 10 and you went 0 for 10, so now I'm up 10 points on you. No, I have one win over you, and then the next week you win, so now we're 1-1. Whoever ends up winning gets the total prize at the end.
Oh, I was thinking like an actual $1 down on an actual 10-game parlay.
Right. I understand that, but it would just be then me and you, a battle of, or like I win $1 this week if I win, and you win $1 next week if you win, and then we just count it up at the end and see who owes who however much money. Well, we can workshop it anyway. We'll figure it out by next episode.
For now, regardless, we've picked our winners.
That's
and
right.
We will have bragging rights, one of us over the other, most likely, unless our games where we differed get split, then it might be the same.
All canceled.
Yep. But we'll keep a running total of how we do. And off air, maybe we figure out a way to make it a little more interesting.
Indeed.
We'll update on the next episode what we decided on.
All right. Thank you all for coming. Please please subscribe, and put down some comments of what you thought of the episode, how horribly wrong we were on the Team North America versus Team Europe, or whatever else you want to talk about. And we'll see you next week. And also keep an eye out for the trade deadline preview that will be coming out as well.
Absolutely.
All right. That is all for
Till
today.
next time.
Goodbye.
Peace.